In April 2023, something happened quietly. So quietly that almost no one noticed. There were no headlines, no breaking news banners, no big announcements, but behind the scenes, China was carrying out a strategy that could change the future of money. The People's Bank of China announced that it had added 58 tons of gold to its reserves. In May, another 16 tons, June, 23 tons, July, another 23 tons. And by the end of the year, China had purchased more than 225 tons of gold in just 12 months. No central bank had accumulated gold on this scale in decades. But here's the part most people overlook. Those numbers you see are most likely only the visible part of the iceberg. And once you understand why, this story stops being just a story about gold and turns into a story about power, security, sanctions, and the next global monetary system. In this video, I want to explain this calmly, clearly, and without exaggeration. What China is really doing with gold, why it is doing this quietly, how this connects to the dollar, BRICS, oil, and trade, and what all of this may mean for your wealth in the long run, because this is not a rumor, it's not a conspiracy theory, this is a strategy being carried out in plain sight. Most people just aren't looking closely enough. The official numbers, and why they don't tell the full story. By the end of 2024, China officially reported 2,264 tons of gold reserves. On paper, this puts them behind the United States, behind Germany at least, officially. But here's where things start to get strange. For nearly 5 years, it reports from 2019 to 2023, China reported no increase in its gold reserves. The number simply froze. Yet during these same years, China was the world's largest gold producer, mining roughly 350 to 370 tons per year. It was also the largest gold importer, bringing in more than 1,000 tons annually through Hong Kong and Shanghai, which naturally raises a question. If all this gold isn't appearing in the official reserves, where is it? The most reasonable answer is this. A large portion of that gold never appears in central bank records. Instead, it is held in state-owned banks, sovereign wealth funds, SAFE, the State Administration of Foreign Exchange Accounts, strategic off-balance sheet asset pools. SAFE alone manages over $3 trillion in assets. If some of the gold is stored there, it doesn't appear in central bank reserves. That's why many analysts say the real gold amount may be 4,000 tons, 6,000 tons, maybe even more. And here's the key point. This secrecy is not accidental. Thanks to this strategy, China prevents prices from spiking too fast, avoids signaling distrust toward the dollar, preserves the option to reveal the real total at a strategic moment. And we know they've done this before. 2009, a sudden, unexpectedly announced reserve increase. 2015, the same thing again. The pattern is pretty clear. China accumulates quietly, then reports it on its own timeline. This is not just gold buying. An ecosystem is being built. In 2002, China established the Shanghai Gold Exchange. Today it is the largest physical gold market in the world. Unlike Western systems dominated by paper contracts and derivatives, Shanghai's model is built on real, deliverable metal. Then in 2018, another critical piece was added, the Shanghai International Energy Exchange. What does this mean? A country can sell oil to China, receive payment in yuan, and convert that yuan directly into gold, a clean yuan. Oil, gold loop, The US dollar does not need to be involved anywhere in the process. On top of that, Belt and Road mining access, partnerships across Africa and Asia, massive gold demand from Chinese citizens. When all of this is combined, this no longer looks like random gold buying. It looks like infrastructure being built for a different financial order. Why gold? Because sanctions changed the rules. China has more than $3 trillion in foreign reserves. Most of these reserves are held inside the Western financial system. In dollar-based institutions, this system worked. Until 2022. Then Russia's reserves were frozen. Hundreds of billions of dollars became inaccessible overnight. And many countries walked away from that event thinking, money kept inside someone else's system is never fully yours. Gold, however, is different. No counterparty risk, no payment network, no political switch to flip. If you store it in your own vault, you are the real owner. That's it. For countries concerned about geopolitical pressure, gold is not just a metal, it is sovereignty insurance. The long-term game, trust, credibility, and optionality. China wants the yuan to play a bigger role in international trade, but trust does not appear overnight, and transparency issues make this even harder. Gold, however, gives the yuan something powerful, not a full gold standard, but a sense of convertibility, credibility, especially now that BRICS discussions increasingly focus on commodity-based trade solutions, gold-linked payment structures, and in such a system, the country with the most gold naturally gains more leverage, revealed or unrevealed. China is preparing itself for that possibility. So, what happens if China one day reveals its real gold total? Let's imagine a scenario. Beijing comes out and says, we actually hold 7,000, or even 8,000 tons of gold. What would likely happen? Gold prices rise. Confidence in the dollar weakens slightly. Trade in yuan appears more credible. And the balance of financial power shifts slowly, but permanently. This wouldn't be a collapse. It wouldn't be an overnight revolution. But the direction would change, and a process would begin that is very difficult to reverse. And every central bank would receive the same message. Gold matters again. And China, prepared early. What does all of this mean for us? Gold does not pay interest. It fluctuates. It has storage costs, but especially outside the West. Central banks are buying more gold than they have in decades, not for speculation, but to protect themselves from uncertainty, from sanctions risk, from the possibility of systemic change, from the chance that the next 10 to 20 years may look very different from today. History shows us one clear truth. Monetary systems always change. The real question is, who is preparing for that change, and who believes nothing will ever change? If this video changed your perspective on China's gold strategy, feel free to subscribe. Here, I explore geopolitical and financial power shifts that most people only notice after it's already too late. And I'm genuinely curious. Do you think gold will once again play an important role in the next global monetary system? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.